here we go. The Box have named their team. Ireland are a day out from naming theirs. We're almost there at Loftus Versfeld. Even closer than us is Murray Kinsella of the 42, who has made his way to South Africa after a couple of hiccups along the way. A stopover in Nairobi, a brilliant piece on Kenyan rugby to boot while he was there. Murray, great to see you. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm loving it. I finally arrived after 2 days of travel nearly, and it's been hectic since, but it's been so enjoyable. And there's such a incredible sense of excitement, anticipation, confidence, depending on who you speak to. And the people of South Africa, they really seem to be buzzing for this. Like I've literally been here for 2 nights, and I really already have such a good sense of how much they absolutely love their rugby. Everyone you talk to is either related to someone who was a player or is going to be a good player or as a coach, or they have some sort of rugby story for you. And they're massively excited to have Ireland here. So I'm enjoying each day as it comes, but Saturday can't really come quick enough.
James Tracy, what is the mood like in your camp at the moment?
Better, I think good. I've gotten over the disappointment of the URC and just the club game in general, and I've taken that hat off and put it very optimistic and yeah, just excited to see this Irish group back together again, and what a challenge for them away to the World Cup champions.
Murray, I want to dig in a little bit more to the vibes down there among the people as well as among the Springboks, which we'll get into. But clearly, Rassie Erasmus, the players, they've built this straw man who has been going around calling Ireland the best team in the world. Now, I don't think anybody from Ireland or in Ireland has done that in maybe 8 or 9 months, but you saw it in the brilliant promo video that the Springboks account put out yesterday. They have clips from Felipe Contepomi talking about it after the World Cup semi-finals when Ireland were already gone, that they're still the best team in the world. There was a clip of Finn Russell saying it after Ireland beat Scotland to win the Six Nations. Obviously, take that with a pinch of salt because he's just trying to big up Scotland's own efforts in what was a narrow defeat for them. Sam Warburton isn't involved in the promo clip, but he's definitely riled them up by saying it after Ireland beat France in Marseille in February. But they are constructing this narrative that it's a battle between the team who pretends to be the best team in the world and the actual world champions of the best team in the world. It's remarkable, really, that no matter how scientific and how meticulously prepared teams become, that something like this does seem to work because the players are clearly buying into it. The coaches have obviously done their job on that front. Are the people buying into this as well? Does it feel like a bit of a grudge match or a bit of a settler among the South African public?
There definitely is a good rivalry that's developed just because they're two really good rugby teams, and that's the sense of it. I haven't come across any ill will towards Ireland amongst people in real life, and I don't even get that sense from people who are involved in coaching here or whatever levels. There's respect there for Ireland. Yeah, that is the kind of narrative that they pushed. I thought the video they did, was it last night? It was brilliant. I thought it was exactly what rugby needs more of, just pure hype. It was exciting. It was bombastic. It reminded me of stuff that they do in American sports really well. I didn't think it was insulting or, inciting rage in any way. It was just a bit of good fun, and it definitely added to my excitement. After watching that video, I couldn't wait for the game even more. Listen, that's their narrative for this game, and it makes complete sense. They're the world champions. The number 2 team is coming, the closest team to them, a side who's beaten them 3 times. Of course, they're going to be massively motivated, and yeah, maybe they framed it in a way that is rage baiting some people, but it's a pretty obvious narrative. And then Ireland's narrative is pretty obvious as well. Down the back-to-back world champions and try and prove a point. Yeah, there's no World Cup on the line, but it's a very big prize in their mind. So I'm not surprised by any of it. And though Rassie seems to annoy some people, I think Ireland, Paul O'Connell was talking about it yesterday, they're not wasting too much energy on it. And I think if anyone is wasting their energy getting annoyed by this stuff, then they probably need to have a think about why they're wasting that emotional energy on it. It's a bit of fun. Like, I was there for Rassie yesterday, and I have to say I laughed several times. It was really entertaining press conference, really entertaining. Like, he had the room in stitches. He knows what he's doing, and it will get under some people's skin, but it's a bit of fun. And it definitely, I can really see up close here how the Springboks are brilliant at keeping rugby in everyone's minds and everyone talking about it all the time, because they always have something to say about themselves or about someone else. And obviously it's the national sport and people adore their rugby, but they're definitely getting the product pushed to them as well in a really big way. The Springboks, the South Africans, are very good at that. It's front and center everywhere, and Rassie hugely helps that. So I'm all for it, even if it annoys some people.
James, the greatest coaches in sports history, you think of Alex Ferguson, Bill Belichick, guys like these are emotionally manipulative in a way that is constructive for their teams. Obviously, there's a bit of a negative connotation to that term, generally speaking, but we're seeing it with Rassie here. He's humble enough, I think, as a guy to always surround himself with unbelievable rugby brains. He already has one himself, but he tends to delegate, I would say, a lot of like strategic things, or at least consult with people on that. What he is the master at in a rugby context is getting his teams to the right emotional pitch. And Murray had a brilliant piece, for example, about Chasing the Sun season 2, which you can read on the 42 now. But my favorite quote in that entire season was Rassie saying, "Emotional lasts 5 minutes, but personal allows 80 minutes." And that's where I'm a little bit worried about this Saturday, because it does feel personal to them. He's created this sense of it being personal, even if it doesn't maybe quite feel as personal to the rest of us, or the rest of the world. Like, we're even saying Ireland are the second best team in the world. What right do we really have to say that? New Zealand beat us in a World Cup quarter final and pushed South Africa all the way in the final. Probably a strong case to be made that we're third or fourth, right? But the way it's being billed, when you see that promo clip yourself, like, did it bait your rage, or is this just all good fun?
Yeah, definitely a lot of feeling of rage. I have to say, I really enjoy how Rassie stokes the fire. And in fairness, in the club game, closest to him was probably Ronan O'Gara, of being able to kind of throw out comments that, like, can be debated. So, like, there's always an element of truth in everything that he says, but it's always down to interpretation of how you take it. And I agree with Murray that it's the game needs more in the club and international game of these characters who bring excitement and give us loads to talk about off the field, but their teams are exceptionally well coached, well drilled, and talented individuals. So it's not just the theatrics off the field. It's the product that they're able to produce when they cross the whitewash. So does it annoy me? No, not really. No, like I think it's genius the way he's managed to kind of spin it in their favor, that even though that they're the pinnacle that everyone should be looking to chop down, that they're the ones who have to prove a point, and some sort of underdog story. Even though they're World Cup champions and they're playing at home, but they're the ones up backs against the walls, proving a point against this team. We think they're the best. When I feel players definitely being ranked world number one for a good while leading into that World Cup. That was just a fact. It doesn't mean that you're the best. Silverware is the bit that goes down in history. No one remembers the how long you were at world number one or anything like that. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a grudge match, just because at how aggressive both teams are. I love that South Africa have a chip that they're going to be working towards, but I also feel like it's going to motivate this group of Irish players to prove a point and back up that win in the pool stage with it's not an easy place to go at the best of times, away to South Africa, but going with them in such good form, with the team that they've selected and the challenges that's going to bring, and the kind of off-field antics of feelings of disrespect and all the rest. But I do feel that there's been a little bit of cold water thrown on it during the week. The more the kind of South African players and staff are kind of put to more Irish media face to face, I feel like they kind of backtrack a tiny bit on some of the points, don't they, when they're kind of questioned on it. But I still think the fire will still be in their bellies, and rightly so. You got to find that why, and it looks like they have. And for this Irish group, it's making a bit of history in trying to win a very, very grueling set of test matches away from home.
Well, even Etzebeth is digging himself into a hole, really, isn't he? The stuff yesterday was a bit mad. Like, what context, what other context could his comments have been taken in? And even the way he was trying to justify the number he had estimated, who had told him they'd see him in the final, I thought was just a bit weird, to be honest. But he's a big guy; he can take care of himself. And he did say, "Look, I said what I said," and I'd say he'll back it up on the pitch. I would just say on Razzie, like, the genius what he's done. And first of all, Gav, he is like a strategic rugby genius. This guy, like, lots of the cool things they do, they're his ideas. He's very innovative. Even back when he was playing, he had this analysis set up before anyone in rugby was doing it. He was coding his own games and doing all this kind of stuff. He's very smart rugby wise. But the genius what he's done since he came in, like, remember where the Springboks were? They were a shambles. They were a sorry team. There was no pride in playing for South Africa. It seemed like they just didn't want to be there, the players. And he's made them really care again. And again, when you're here, you just get a sense of how much it means to them. And I'd say other nations are kind of jealous of what the Springboks just have as a nation. And they talk about it all the time, that they're playing for 60 million people, some of whom have like horrific realities in their life and real pressure of trying to feed their family and get a job and just survive. And that motivates them. And it's such a complex country because there's this big divide, but they've made that complexity a real strength for them. And again, like, I've been here 2 nights, but I've seen it. We're staying in this lovely hotel, the same place that Ireland are in Santon, one of the rich areas in Joburg. It's class. You think you're nearly in Dubai if you don't leave the hotel. Literally across the road, there's like a stall of like really cheap places to eat with a very different side of Johannesburg there. Like, even just racially, you walk across the road, it's different. And also in the squad in South Africa, you've got guys like, the Afrikaners guys who've come through from really great families and wealthy backgrounds, and they have this inherent self-belief in themselves, and that gives them strength. Other parts of the squad are guys who come from nothing and had to fight for every scrap in life, and they're now playing for the Springboks. And they've just harnessed all that so well, and you can see how they play. Like, it means so much to them. And I'm not saying that other countries don't care as much, but sometimes I wonder, like, how could you ever recreate what the Boks inherently have? And like, the complexity of the nation, some of it is obviously bad, but Razzie has turned it all into a real strength, and he's made them care. He's made them defensive. He's made them have a chip on the shoulder. He's made them believe that no one rates them, even though they are clearly the best team in the world. I think everyone has said that. And yeah, he's been really good at marrying the kind of strategic rugby stuff and a really effective style of play with an unbelievable buy-in and work ethic built on being proud to be South African. So it's a pretty special blend for them over the last 2 World Cup cycles.
Yeah, right, I think the identity piece is huge, Murray, isn't it? Like, there is nothing you can compare around the world of what they have created there. And even, sorry, on to the Estebet comment, you do have to remember as well, he was ragdolled by James Lowe about 2 minutes before he was very offended by whatever was said. So I'm sure his pride was a little hurt about that moment. I don't know, in his career, has he ever been picked up like that? So I'm sure his ego was a little bit bruised. So no matter what anyone said to him, it wasn't going to be taken well. And I think that is probably worth mentioning for context of how he interpreted, probably a throwaway comment from a few Irish players of kind of respect rather than anything else.